Hey everybody, how's it going? So since I got so much support on my last video, I thought I'd make another tier list video. This time, I'm going to be ranking all the items in Enter the Gungeon, and the link to this tier list will be included in the description if you are interested in making your own. And then a few things to go over before we start. So just like last time, I'm going to explain the tiers here. So C tier is basically average, and then S tier is basically any items that I consider to be run defining or can pretty much win a run entirely on their own. F tier are items that are completely useless and they don't really, or almost useless, they don't really do anything for you. And then all the tiers in between S, C, and F are varying degrees of better or worse. So like A would be really strong but not quite, game defining or enough to carry you by itself. And then B items are items that are pretty good but not quite A. So kind of along those lines. And then another quick note, items in general are better than guns on average. So one of the reasons this is just because I think items are pretty strong. The average item I feel like is just really good compared to like the average gun. And also because a lot of items are passives, they can stack. Whereas if you have guns, like you can have a lot of different guns, but you can only really shoot one gun at a time. But when you have items and you have a lot of passives, they all add together. So when you pick up a new passive, it just gets added to all the passives you already have. But when you pick up a new gun, it's like if you already have a lot of good guns, it doesn't really do anything for you unless it's like a very special gun. But most of the time, extra guns don't really help you too much. But extra items can just keep adding strength. So generally, items are better. And then finally, consumables aren't going to be included. So stuff that you can get multiple copies of, like glass gluon stones, money, like casings, keys and stuff like that. Those are not going to be included. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So our first item here is Aged Bell. So this is a pretty significant one. So I'm gonna talk about invincibility actives and HP items in general. So the thing about this item is it's an invincibility active. So invincibility actives are basically what I'm gonna refer to as active items that basically make it impossible for you to take damage. I mean, it's not impossible, but like basically active items that make it so you're safe for the duration of its active frame. So the thing about active items and HP items in general is the better of a player you are, the less you need them, right? Because if you don't get hit in the first place, why would you need items that make it easier for you to not take damage? And then by that logic, all of these items should technically be F tier if you're like the best player in the world, right? But realistically, nobody is like perfect, and even like good players can mess up all the time. So I don't think it's fair to just say like HP items or like items that make it easy to protect yourself are bad. And in fact, I think they're generally quite good. So part of this tier list is this is kind of what I think the items are at for the average Gungeon player, but also kind of mixing in like my own personal experience, and that might be where you see some of like the variance compared to like individual bias, I guess. But for the most part, I'm going to be trying to rank these items for the average player, and most of the time, people aren't going to play perfectly, and these active items and HP items do actually have quite a nice impact. So with that being said, I'm going to put Aged Bell in A tier. So talking about active items like that give you invincibility or basically make you safe. So they're really, really strong because for the like you obviously won't take damage, but there's a lot of different uses for them. So you can use them in bosses. So if you're having trouble with the master rounds, they're basically just like do a ton of free damage to the boss without taking any damage yourself. So basically, you can also kind of use it as a blink too. Like if you think you're about to get hit or you're in a dangerous situation, just hit the button, and you can quickly move to a safer location. And the entire time, you can also keep shooting the boss and doing damage to them. So it's really useful for master rounds. And bosses, like when you're fighting a boss, you charge active items pretty fast too. So you can often get like maybe 2, or even 3. I don't know about 3, depends on maybe the later bosses, but you can generally hit like maybe 2 procs of an active item during a boss fight, and then that could basically be like almost half their HP sometimes. Like, so these items are really strong. And then even during the rooms, like if you just want to save HP, you can just use these items whenever you feel threatened, and it's basically just a free room clear. So active items that give you immunity are very, very strong. Aged Bell is particularly strong because you can actually use this to steal items from shops. So I've talked about stealing in the past, in my past video. I would suggest you watch that. But basically, stealing is really strong because you can get a ton of extra items. I'm not going to go too much into it because I've talked about it before. But yeah, Aged Bell, one of the best Not the best, but one of the best active items. I don't think it's quite S tier because um, it's not going to be up all the time, and even if it is available, sometimes like you just don't have like you'll get hit, but you won't have like the reaction time to like press the button fast enough, and it's only like a few seconds, so it's not going to be quite enough. Like even if you're like a really bad player, this item isn't going to save you on its own. So A tier, but definitely one of the top A tiers, I'd say. Airstrike, I'm gonna put this in D tier, so it's kind of below average. It's doesn't really do enough for what it for how long it takes to charge. So all it does is just calls like down like a line of explosions. I'm not actually sure if this can damage yourself. I don't think it can, but yeah, all it does is just make a line of explosions. It doesn't do enough for what it does. It doesn't really help you. It doesn't protect you really from taking damage, and it's not really like great for clearing at all because it's just not strong enough. I guess it's just not great. D tier. Alpha bullets. I'm gonna put this in A tier, I think. So the thing with alpha bullets is they increase your first bullet by 80% damage, and that's pretty good because obviously it's always gonna proc anytime you shoot. So it's good for those situations. So even for normal guns, you're gonna see this damage increase. But then for like weapons that have very small magazines, this is very noticeable. So any gun with like one bullet per round, it's almost a double damage. It's 80% damage. So if you're using weapons like Particulator, Stinger, this item is just really strong for those. So I'm gonna say it's A tier. Utility belt. This item is pretty average. It's just more ammo. So it's useful, but ammo is only good up to like a certain point, I guess. Like if you have a lot of ammo, it's not gonna really make a huge difference in the first place. Like if you're already drowning in ammo, it's not gonna be too useful. So it's okay, I guess. Ammo synthesizer. So along the same veins, I'm gonna put this in C tier. I think it is better than the utility belt, but they kind of fill the same niche. So generally, in my experience, I don't really run out of ammo too much, especially since in all the patches they've added, they've made it a lot easier to get more ammo. So I'm gonna put this in C tier as well. Amulet of the Pit Lord. I'm also gonna put this in C tier. Falling damage is not something that's too common, but it can happen if you're cornered, and you can use this if you're in a situation where you can't avoid enemies or dodge bullets. You can just jump off a cliff and you will protect yourself from damage. If you combine this with Rap Boots, it's really strong too. But we're not going to talk about synergies. But yeah, it's just a good item to have. It's not really terrible at all. It's just fine. Ancient Heroes Bandana. I want to put this in S. It's one of the weaker S tiers, I'd say. But not having to worry about ammo is pretty insane. If you have like weapons like, obviously these are a bit of exceptions, but like if you have weapons like Yari Launcher, Makeshift Cannon, this weapon just wins you the game because those weapons are already like S tier, but this weapon makes it so that you literally will never run out of ammo on those weapons. Like they just basically, you can use them as much as you want. And then for normal weapons, like any like good room clearing weapon or like just good DPS weapon, you'll never run out of ammo for. This is just like so much ammo. The reason it's just so much better than these two is because it increases your maximum ammo. So it proactively gives you ammo, whereas these items you kind of have to like rely on getting ammo drops, or you can't carry as much ammo with you. But this item means that you already have the ammo. You don't need to like go get more ammo. So this is like proactive, where these are like kind of more reactive. I don't think it's one of the best S tiers, but it's certainly pretty good. Angry Bullets. I'm gonna put this in B tier. It's all right. I don't think this used to work with explosives, but I think it does now. Basically, it can help sometimes in like rooms where enemies are kind of crowded. The ricochets can do some nice bonus AoE, but it's not really too special. It is a little better than your average upgrade though, so B tier I'd say. Antibody, I'm gonna put this in C tier. It's okay, I'd say. So when you get a red heart, I think you get a 50% chance to get an extra half heart. So that's about like, depending on what types of HP you get, that can be like a significant amount of HP throughout a run. I guess if you're really low HP, it gets better the more damage you take. So it's really useful for those cases where you do need to get emergency healing, but other than that, it's not like too amazing. It's not quite like heart containers, where having HP, it's kind of like the whole thing with the hero's bandana and the ammo here. So this is kind of reactive. Like if you take damage, then this is good, but if you don't take damage, it's not good. But like versus heart containers, those are always good because they basically just increase your max capacity and they let you take health around with you proactively, where this is more reactive. So it's not quite as good as heart containers, but it's still okay. Armor of Thorns, I'm also gonna put the C tier. So it increases your dodge roll damage, it gives you armor, and it makes you immune to contact damage. So the immunity to contact damage is the big thing. Some rooms have enemies that chase you down, and some of those can be actually pretty hard to avoid. Um, Immunity to contact damage is kind of like immunity to pitfall damage. You don't see it very often, but it's useful for those situations, so it's average, I'd say. Armor Synthesizer, this is definitely better than your other synthesizer, your ammo synthesizer here. I'm gonna put this in B tier. Armor Synthesizer is nice. You just get more HP, and armor is better than HP because it's permanent. Like you don't have a maximum limit on how much armor you can have, but I wouldn't say it really like helps you. It just makes you tankier, but it's not gonna help you clear rooms faster or kill bosses faster. It just gives you like more of a buffer to work with. But HP is always kind of nice, so B tier I'd say. Baby Good Mimic. So this item varies a lot depending on the familiar you have, and it's really bad on Huntress because you're guaranteed a dog, and dogs aren't really you don't want to hit a dog with Baby Good Mimic. What you do want to hit are some of the better familiars that either kind of like Chicken Flute, which does good amount of damage, or maybe one of another familiar that does more damage, like Gelatin here, right? So it varies a lot. I think on average, I'd say it's B tier. So if you get this first, it's kind of not that strong either. But I'd say the average familiar probably lands around B tier. So I'm gonna put this in B tier. Like I said, it can vary a lot. It's really bad on Huntress. If you're playing Huntress, I'm gonna put this like E or F tier. But yeah, I would say the average familiar is B tier. So Baby Good Gelatin, I'm gonna put this in B tier. I think it's one of the better familiars though. They're one of the better B tier items. I mean, basically all it does is shoot lasers occasionally at enemies, and the damage is like okay, but it's not spectacular. It's just a solid, familiar passive damage source, so it's all right. Backpack, I think this gives you an extra active slot. So with the addition of Rat, this isn't really too useful if you already have the Rat Sack. But we're gonna assume that you're not gonna do Rat. An extra item slot, an extra active item is really really strong. It's basically the pilot's passive, but not including the ammo. But carrying 2 actives is really powerful. This assumes that you can actually get to 2 separate actives that are both good. But yeah, I'd say Backpack is decent in most cases. Most characters will have a use for it. It just depends on kind of some luck on how lucky you can get with your drops. Backup Gun, I'm gonna say this is B tier. Backup Gun is pretty good. It is more situational of an item. So if you have items that don't really care about where you're aiming, so stuff like anything with homing, anything with any direction aiming, this is basically just double damage. So stuff like Particulator can be really good, Scrambler can be really good, Beehive can be really good. And on other weapons, it's not terrible too. Like it can be used to protect your back. If you're surrounded by enemies, then you can oftentimes just kill more than one enemy by luck, and sometimes it'll protect your butt if an enemy's chasing you down. So yeah, it's pretty good, I'd say. Badge, I'd say this is A tier. So the familiar you get from this isn't really that great. He doesn't really do much. It's just a little policeman. But when he dies, I think you get a 20% damage up. So 20% damage up is very good. That's a lot of damage. You also get some Curse. Curse overall isn't really that bad. It's like fine to have. It's arguably good in situations as well. But I'm gonna say Curse is like a net neutral for now, so I don't have to explain it too much. But yeah, 20% damage up is fine. That's really what you want this item for. So it's A tier. I think this is Ballistic Boots. This is a big movement speed upgrade. So if Ballistic Boots is your first movement speed upgrade, I'm gonna say it's B tier. If you already have speed upgrades, it's not as useful. Speed is like good up to a certain point because speed does help you navigate rooms better, and in certain boss fights it can actually help a lot. So like bosses like Treadnought, speed is really nice to have. Yeah, and then the main advantage is of course just the rooms, because having more speed makes it easier to get away from enemies faster. It can help you outrun, chase down enemies. It's just a nice stat to have. But too much speed, like past a certain point, it doesn't really help you, right? So if it's your first item, it's a B tier, I'd say. I'm gonna put this in B tier because there aren't too many speed items. If you already have a speed upgrade, it's probably lower C or D tier. Ballot, this is just +3 coolness. I'm gonna say this is average actually. So coolness is a nice stat, but the main use for it is the active item cooldown. And then this is basically just 15% active item cooldown. Now, if you don't have an active item, the coolness is still kind of useful. You get more item drops, but it's not enough to really warrant it, like an entire item on its own. If you get this, like, I mean, there's no reason not to take it, but I generally wouldn't buy this unless I had like a ridiculous amount of money, or I could buy it with keys that like I had a ton of keys I could buy it, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't get too excited over Ballot. It's all right though. Battery bullets, it's an accuracy up, so it's also going to be average, I'd say. It's a small accuracy up, and it lets you electrocute water pools. If you have like water weapons like Mega Dowser, anything that creates pools of water, it's all right. Like it helps those out, but those are like pretty rare situations, right? The main reason this is like okay is just the accuracy, not really much else to it. Battle standard, I'm gonna put this in D tier actually. I think it's kind of bad. So battle standard on its own does nothing for you. It's just kind of a waste of item slot, and it also increases the chance of getting familiars. So the thing is, I feel like familiars can be nice, but most of the time I would rather just have a different item over a familiar. So battle standard, while you have it, if you don't have any familiars already, it's just completely useless. And actually can be like a net negative for you. Like if you found a black chest that was an item chest, you just increase your chances of getting Babe a Good Skeleton. And a lot of the other black chest items are really like much better, for example. So I feel like most of the time this is either not very good or slightly detrimental. So I'm gonna put this in D tier. And like even if you have familiars, it doesn't really help too much. Like I don't think it's that strong. So D tier. Big Boy, this item is really really good. It's basically a full room clear. It's kind of like BSG, but you don't have to charge it. And it creates it basically also deletes all bullets and it does a ton of damage. So if you're on a boss fight, and you can just use this as like kind of like a blank that also does a ton of damage to the boss. I would be a little careful though, because it does leave a poison pool, so you don't want to step in that. But yeah, I mean it's just good. It clears rooms easily. It's basically a one-shot room and protects you a little bit on bosses. Does good damage. It's a good item. Bionic leg. I'm gonna say this is average. It's actually it's kind of like the same. It's kind of like the same as ballistic boots. I think ballistic boots makes you a little faster. Don't quote me on that. This gives you a piece of armor as well, but they're around the same speed, or they're around the same tier, I'd say. Movement speed is nice. Obviously, if this is your second movement speed upgrade, it's probably C tier. Blank bullets. I'm gonna put this in S tier. I also think this is one of the weaker S tier items, but it's still very very good. Blank bullets. It can save you a ridiculous amount of HP depending on how much, like depending on your guns. If you have certain guns, then this item gets ridiculous. And even if you don't, like the blank bullets can end up saving you more often than you realize. They can make bosses a lot easier, and they make finding secret rooms completely free because you don't need to actually use You don't actually need to use your own blanks anymore to open secret rooms. So yeah, you can basically stockpile blanks for the boss, like actual blanks for the boss as well. So this is basically free secret rooms, and as well as easier master rounds because you have those extra blanks. Very good. I think this is Blank Companion's Ring. So this is also A tier, but it's also kind of situational. So anytime you use your active item, you get a free blank. There's a cooldown limit of 10 seconds, so you can't just spam like really fast active items, but if you have any low cooldown active item, or even just like a good, maybe like offensive active item, this is quite good. It's just extra blanks, and I mean, if you have like a fast cooldown active item, then it's even stronger. Like you can get a free blank every 10 seconds. It's kind of like Dharma without where the condition isn't rolling over something, but just hitting the spacebar. So it can be really strong. A tier. Blast helmet. I think this item gives you contact immunity. I'm not sure. I think it does. If you get contact immunity from this item, it's C tier. For the same reason as the Armor of Thorns. You're not really going to be rolling into enemies, so that doesn't really that's not really a factor. But the armor is nice. This gives you like you're less susceptible to like explosions, but that literally almost never happens. There's like almost no enemies where that ever matters. So The main thing for both of these items is contact immunity, so C tier. Blood Brooch. This is kind of like lifesteal. I think every 1200 damage you do, you get half a heart. It can be useful for longer. The later in the game you get, the better this gets because the more enemies have more HP. So the healing can be nice. I'm gonna put this in B tier. It's kind of like similar antibody, but I think it's easier to proc. You don't have to get drops. You don't have to rely on getting HP. You can just get it yourself by doing damage, which is you're gonna be doing that anyway. So it's free HP. Bloodied Scarf. Okay, so this item is very, very controversial. A lot of people do not like this item. And it does kind of feel weird to use at first. It takes away your ability to roll into walls. It feels a little bit laggy. But this item is ridiculous. So if you don't know, actually, if you spam dodges back and forth enough, when you end up at the end of the dodge, it kind of deletes all bullets where you go. So I'm pretty sure, I think I've heard that you can use this item to basically be unkillable if you want. On top of that, you can use this to long teleport. So if you hold the dodge roll button, you can actually position where you want to go. So this is really powerful because certain attacks kind of rely on you. A lot of the bosses are balanced around you not being able to do that. So like a boss, and the repositioning is really powerful. So you can use this during rooms to get out of bad spots. So if you're getting cornered by a ton of enemies, just go to the other side of the room. If you're getting attacked by, like say Dragon uses his fire breath attack, you can just teleport behind it. Like there's so many attacks that just get invalidated by this item, and it's super good for repositioning. So with all those things said, if you know how to use this item very well, it's definitely S tier. If you don't know how to use this item or you don't feel comfortable with it, I wouldn't really pick it up. But in the right hands, this item is really, really broken. S tier. Bloody 9M, it's good. It's not good enough to say, I don't think it procs too often, but when it does proc, it's nice. It does a good amount of damage, so I'm gonna say B tier. I forget what this item's called. It slows enemy bullets down. It's pretty strong. That's a nice effect to have. It makes most things easier to react to. You have more time to plan out how you want to dodge and move around, so it's good. Nice item to have. Blue Gohan Stone. So the Gohan Stones are all like okay. I'm gonna say this is C tier. So this Gohan Stone relies on you taking damage for it to have any effect. So obviously they all block bullets. This item basically freezes time when you take damage, or it slows time when you take damage. Excuse me. For a few seconds. That can be nice to have, but overall it's kind of low impact. When you take damage, you have some iframes anyways, and I don't really think it's too useful. But the extra, the Gohan Stone itself is okay, C tier. Bomb. This item is, I think, also D tier. It would be worse if for the fact that it didn't reveal secret rooms. So if you don't know, you can actually use this on a secret room to just open it up without using blinks. So that's nice. The active item itself, like the actual use, is pretty bad. I mean, the range is really short. It doesn't really do much damage. It's kind of useless on its own. It's kind of like a worse airstrike. But the fact that it can open secret rooms kind of elevates it a little bit. I think this is Book of Chest Demolition. I'm going to put this in F tier. So unless you have like Gungeon and you want to break chests on purpose, this item doesn't really, like, you would never want to break a chest unless you're a robot and you want junk. But like even if you're a robot and you want junk, this item is terrible because it basically like really lowers the chance of you getting junk. And if you're not robot, you don't really want to be breaking chests, and generally you'll have enough keys to open most of the chests. So this item almost never does anything for you. And yeah, actually I can't even think of a case where this is good. The only time this is good is if you have no keys, and you generally have enough keys to open most things. Like this will help you upgrade like maybe 1 or 2 chest breaks that you get, and the upgrades aren't even that good. Like you get like, sometimes you'll get like keys, like you're more likely to get consumables and like weak items. But yeah, this item sucks. I hate this item so much. It's so useless. Anyways, Boomerang. I think you can use this to steal, but I've never actually done it before. I read somewhere that I think you can. It stuns enemies, and I think it lets you steal. If it lets you steal, I think it's B tier, just for that fact. I have used this to stun enemies before. It's pretty nice. They get stunned for a really good amount of time, and the cooldown is pretty fast. so it's B tier, I'd say. Bottle. This item is pretty bad. I'm gonna put this in E tier. So Bottle basically lets you, I think it lets you save either armor or hearts. So in the armor case, the only time you'd want to use it is if you're afraid of, if you think you can get all your HP back and then you want the extra armor as like a bonus hit point on the next floor. And then the HP is just like I guess it's kind of like an extra heart container, but it takes up an active item slot. So it's really just not good at all. It just doesn't really do anything for what you're putting in. So I guess E tier. Bouncy bullets. I'd say it's above average. It's alright. The bounce effect can be really good. If you miss an enemy or if you have piercing weapons, this item can add a lot of DPS. It's good for clearing rooms. On bosses, they're pretty fat, so you're not really going to miss unless you're like blind or something. So this doesn't really help you on bosses at all, but it's a fun item. I like it. Box. This item is actually going to be A tier, I'd say. So box is pretty good because, well, for one, you get to steal. I sound like a little bit like a broken record here, but yes, stealing is broken. So that's really good, and you can basically guarantee a use of this every single room. So you basically get to go in every single room and find the best position, and some of the enemies in rooms can be in annoying positions. So this basically lets you kill like the highest priority enemy as soon as possible in the room, or if you want, you can get to like a really safe position in a room. Some of the rooms like in Oubliette, for example, they can be really rough when you're first walking into them. Another room is like I'm trying to think of more examples. Yeah, but anyways, there are a lot of rooms where being able to just position yourself at the start is really useful. So A tier. Bracket key. I'm gonna put this in A tier. It's almost S tier. It's basically the same as Big Boy here. So these two items are both really good, by the way. But yeah, it basically just kills everything in the current room. I think if you use this, it prevents further waves from spawning, which is why it's a lot better than the Big Boy, I think. But the cooldown is a bit long, so it's not just like a cop out you win for free. But it's not really useful on bosses either. It doesn't do too much damage. But yeah, I mean it's a really good tool for clearing floors. You're never really unhappy to see this item. It's good. Brick of Cash. You get to see all secret room. Like there's a little guy that indicates where the secret rooms are. This can be useful if you, most of the time the secret rooms are, there's a good amount of the time the secret rooms are in shops or in chest rooms. So if you just find them like that way, this item doesn't do anything for you. But if secret rooms are in harder to find spots, sometimes you just never find them. So this can be really useful in those situations. I'm gonna say it's B tier. Secret rooms can either be really, really good to okay. They're never really that bad. So having extra guaranteed secret rooms, if you get this early on, it'll probably be like a guaranteed like 2 or 3 extra secret rooms that you wouldn't normally find. So yeah, I think I'd say it's like a fair trade. Those secret rooms often have like unlocked chests or extra consumables, so you generally get a net positive out of this item. I'd say it's B tier. Briefcase of Cash. I think you get some hegemony and a lot of money. I don't remember how much. Is it 250? It's a pretty nice amount of money. Basically, you can buy whatever. That's enough money to buy like any item you want to substitute. You can choose like any S tier. Assuming you can find a shop that sells one, of course. It's like any S tier you want, or A tier. Like basically just buy whatever you want. It's really good. A tier item, I'd say. Broccoli. I think this item's a little overrated, so I'm gonna put this in B tier. It's a 10% damage up, which is good. That's very good. It's a 10% movement speed up, which is okay. Movement speed's alright. And then I think you have a 10% chance to ignore damage. That's like a 10% chance to ignore damage is not really great. It's not high enough evade chance, I'd say. Like over the course of a run, how much damage do you take? Maybe like I think if you get hit a fair amount of times, you get hit like 20 times. So 10% is like only like 1 HP. This is basically just like 1 HP throughout the course of a run. If you get hit like 20 times, if you get like 40 times, that's only 2 hearts. Like it's not a lot of HP. The dodge chance doesn't really matter, I'd say. It's mostly just the speed and the damage. So if you look at this as just as like a speed and damage up, 10% is both really good, but not quite enough to be A tier, I'd say. So B tier. Bug Boots, it's poison immunity and it lets you spread poison by dodge rolling. Both of those are really nice effects. Poison can be really annoying sometimes, and being able to use, you can use this aggressively or if you're running away from enemies, it can poison them. It's a good item. Bullet Idol, when you take damage, it does damage to all the enemies in the room. So this is better. This is kind of like the blue glowstone effect, but it's better. Because instead of just freezing time, it just kills them for you. So if you have a lot of HP, this item can basically let you get away with taking damage. It just clears the room for you when you take damage. On bosses, it does a decent amount of damage. It's not great, but it's not meant for bosses. It's a pretty good item, I'd say, though. I think this is bullet time. It just slows. It's kind of like the aged bell, but it doesn't actually stop time. It only slows time. I don't think it lets you steal either. So I want to put this in B tier. Out of the active, like the invincibility items, it's one of the worst. It's one of the the less good ones. Yeah, it's one of the less good ones. It doesn't last very long either, but I mean it's still useful to have. Like you're never really unhappy to see this item. It's still okay. Bum bullets, it's B tier. The Bs are a nice small amount of damage, but they're not quite enough to be like an amazing amount. So I'm gonna say B tier. C4, this item is pretty bad. I actually don't know if you can damage yourself with this. I know some items you can and some items you can't. Like a bomb, for example, I don't think damages yourself. I think this item might though. Even if it did, it's not very good. So the fact that you have to place it down and then activate it yourself means it's pretty bad because once you place it, you can't move it. So unless you literally place this like right next to an enemy and then run away and then press it, it's not very good. And even then, it's not like the damage isn't great. So I'm gonna say it's E tier. It's pretty useless. I think this is Unity, or is this Cartographer's Graph or Cartographer's Ring? Let me see. I think that one's Unity. So this is Cartographer's Ring. So this item can be a bit of a crapshoot. So a lot of times you just don't get any use out of this item, and then the times you do aren't amazing. Unless, like, if you get this in bullet hell, you're really happy because sometimes you want to just beeline for the lich, but in other cases, it's pretty beneficial to clear the full room. So you're not really getting any use of this besides getting secret rooms. And like I said, sometimes you just find the secret room. You would have found the secret room anyways. So I'm gonna say this is D tier. It can be useful, but most of the time you're clearing the room anyways. You're clearing the floor anyways, so you don't need to see all the rooms. And even when you do the secret rooms, sometimes you would have found them anyways. And then this doesn't even happen on all of the floors. Like you only get this like, I don't even know if it's half the time. It feels like less than half the time. So yeah, it's not really that great. The bullet throne, it's really good. Flight is very, very strong. It basically, you ignore pits, you ignore environmental hazards, you get free, you ace Winchester games for free. These are all really strong things to do. So A tier. Flight is just a very powerful mechanic. And yeah, this gives you flight. The bullet effect isn't really, the bullets you get out of shooting don't really do much. They're not really, they're just there for effect kind of. The main thing is the flight. Chaff grenade. This item seems really, really poor at first, but it's actually not that bad. You only get 3 uses out of it, and they don't recharge. So you only get 3 uses, and then you're done. That being said, the stun, you can either use it to freeze an entire room, and the freeze is significant. It's like 10 seconds or something. They basically just don't do anything until you kill them. Or you can use this to steal from a shop. You throw this into a shop, and you can steal something from it. That obviously is the much better use case than just using it to clear rooms. So 3 steal opportunities is okay. That being said, it's an active item, so generally you want to find like a better active item to replace it, so you're not going to have it for too long. But in the case you can get some good steals out of it, I'd say it's C tier. But yeah, don't use this for rooms. It's not really worth it, unless you have to, like unless you're going to die. Chance bullets, I'm going to say this is C tier. I'm going to say this is C tier. Basically, it gives you a chance to replace your bullets with random bullets from one of your other guns. So this can be a double-edged sword. If you're using like a weaker gun, you have a chance to get like some of your stronger bullets. But if you're using like a strong gun, like a one-shot gun, like a one bullet magazine gun, it can be really bad because weapons that have smaller magazines have a higher chance to activate bullet effects, I'm pretty sure. So you don't want to just be shooting like a stinger and then like a pea shooter shot comes out. Like you just get screwed if that happens. So it can kind of make your really strong guns weaker, and it makes your really weak guns like a lot stronger. But generally, like you don't want to use your really weak guns, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. If you're using like an average gun, I think it's like a net positive. But if you're using like some one-shot guns, it can be kind of frustrating sometimes. So I'm gonna say it's C tier. I think this is Chaos Amulet. So amulets are all pretty good. So I'd say for an amulet, this is one of the better amulets, but I think all of them are around B tier. So they all give you a blink, an extra blink per floor, and an extra blink effect when you use your blinks. So the extra blink per floor is pretty nice. It's extra leniency on the bosses. It's more opportunities to find it's more blanks on the boss because if you end up with extras, you can use them to find the secret room. So more blanks is always pretty useful. And the effect on this is better than most other amulets because, I mean, you just get like everything at once. It's pretty good, I'd say. I think is this Chaos Bullets? Basically, this is like your bullets can do like any of the random effects. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, because it's not like every bullet gets a random effect. It's just like sometimes it's kind of just like it's like a random bullet effect every time you would get like a bullet effect. And the bullet effects can vary from pretty good to not that great to really good. So I think most of them, on average, I'd say a bullet upgrade is probably B tier though. So I want to put this in B tier. Charm Horn, it's good because you can steal with it. You can use it on a shopkeeper to steal. Other than that, it's not really that useful for clearing rooms. Charm Rounds, on the other hand, is decent. I'd say it's also B tier though. The thing with charming enemies is that really dangerous enemies, you don't necessarily want to charm because they shoot bullets in all directions, and even if they're on your side, they will still damage you with their bullets. And a lot of times you just want to kill them faster. For like really weak enemies, if you charm them, it's like nice, I guess, but they don't really help you clearing the room too much. They're a nice item to have. Definitely like better than average, I'd say, but they're not like amazing. So B tier. Chest Teleporter. This item is not as good as it seems, I think. So I've used this a few times and it hasn't been really too great. I'm gonna say it's B tier, but it's definitely lower end. So it basically lets you transport chests to the next floor. So why would you want to do that? If you don't have enough keys, it can be useful. Most of the time, that's not the main use case. The main use case is that it has a chance to upgrade the chest that you teleport. But for some reason, like I feel like the upgrade chance is pretty low. I've sent like a chest up like 3 or 4 floors before, and it's only upgraded like 1 time sometimes. So it's pretty inconsistent. I wouldn't really count on it as like a way to get super strong items on a run. It's better than average, but I wouldn't say it's amazing. Chicken Flute, I think this is like one of the best familiars. The chicken is really good. It blocks bullets, and then when it takes enough damage, it just spawns a ton of chickens, and they do a ton of damage to bosses. This item is really strong for bosses that like to spam bullets. It's a very good familiar. A tier. Cigarettes. So depending on when you get these, they can be S tier or A tier. I'm gonna say A tier because if you get them later on, they're not quite as good. But at any stage in the game, they're generally like not bad. You take damage for coolness. This can snowball really fast, out of control. Very easy way to hit max coolness or max cooldown reduction from coolness. These items are really good. Yeah, if you get this like on the first floor or something, or you get a lot of HP drops, this is probably S tier, because you just get a ridiculous amount of drops and stuff like that. But I'm gonna say this is A tier. Clear Guan Stone. It's a Guan Stone that gives you poison immunity. So I'd say this is better than your blue Guan Stone because poison immunity is generally better than slow on damage. Poison immunity is a nice thing to have. But actually, yeah, I think this is C tier. Guan Stones aren't really too amazing in general, but they're nice to have. Clone, this is S tier. For obvious reasons. Like, it's an extra life, first of all, but an extra life where you keep everything is just insane. Clone is a very boring item, in my opinion, because the second run is usually just like, it's kind of brainless. You don't actually have to try. Like, you're so strong by that point. There's no point really in playing the rest of the run. But it's a very cool item. Definitely one of the strongest items in the game, though. Chloranthy Ring, I think. Is this Chloranthy Ring? I think this is Chloranthy Ring. Increase your dodge roll speed. I think it's B tier. It's one of the better B tiers though. Dodge roll speed Dodge rolling is like pretty dangerous. It leaves you very exposed. Speeding it up is a really nice thing to have, but generally like this won't save you too much if you make a bad dodge roll. It can save you in certain situations. It'll save you generally like some damage if you like to roll a lot. And it's a fun item to use, so I would say it's B tier. Clown Mask. This gives you a Payday Familiar. I think the Payday Familiars are pretty good on average. I'm going to say they're B tier. The Shotgun guy is pretty strong. He does good damage. The Blank guy is useful. He's kind of like a weaker owl. And I think one guy tases them. That guy's probably the worst one. He just stuns them. He stuns like one enemy for a little bit. I'd say that guy's like the worst one. But I'd say all the familiars are like pretty nice to have. I'd say they're all B tier. Cluster Mine. I think this is like C4. I don't know if this hurts you. I think it does. I think this one might. It places a ton of bombs around you. The only way you can use this easily, it's like useless on bosses because you don't want to be near a boss to like actively use this item. And even on rooms, like you have to be close to enemies and like they're not going to be surrounding you when you use this item. Like it's just like very hard to use effectively and it's not very high impact at all. It's kind of bad. Cog of Battle. This item is really good. This item is really strong because the active reload is insane. Like you do so much more damage and it's not really that hard to hit. Increases your reload speed too if you hit it correctly. If you don't, it's just like a regular reload. You don't really miss out on anything. This item is really strong. Tons of damage. Coin Crown. I think this just gives you more money. If you get this early on, it's good. If you get this later on, it's useless. On average, I'd say it's B tier. More money is nice, and it's not like money only helps you up to a certain point though. It's not gonna help you in bullet hell really. And the money isn't like ridiculous. It's just like a decent, like it's a small to medium amount. It's not like that much money. You definitely like if you don't get this item, it's like whatever. Like you still have plenty of money generally to buy the items that you really want. So it's a nice bonus. You can generally afford some maybe like extra B tier items if you're lucky, like an S tier item. It's not like if you're lucky, it'll help you get some extra money to get that S tier item that you can't quite afford, but it's not like something to write home about. Another Amulet. I think this isn't poison. I forget which one this one is. I think this is this Lodestone? It pushes. No, I think that's the brown one. This is fire, I think, right? When you use the blank, I think it sets enemies on fire. Yeah, it's like B tier. All the amulets are like around B tier, I'd say, for mentions I've talked about before. Crisis Stone. This item is average. It's above average, I'd say. It's not like amazing. Reload speeds are pretty fast in this game, unless you have like RPG or something. The reload timing isn't gonna help you because for one, you're never gonna want to you generally never want to just wait on a reload because it's only good if you're gonna take damage in the middle of a reload. But reloads are pretty fast, so that's not very common. Obviously with cigarettes, it's infinite coolness, so I mean, yeah, it'd be good if you had that, but in the average case, it's not going to be that great. You're not going to want to not reload just so that you can abuse this item. If you're fighting like a boss, you're going to just be shooting as fast as possible. You want to kill the boss as quickly as possible. You're not going to really have time to think about trying to use Crisis Stone effectively. That being said, it can save you some damage. I'd say it's okay. It's above average. Crutch, it's an accuracy up. I'd say it's B tier. The homing is a slight amount, but it's very noticeable. A lot of times, if you're shooting enemies from far away or you have a lower accuracy gun, this item will help you increase your... the accuracy is nice. You're just going to hit more shots and do more damage. It translates into damage up. Cursed Bullets. This item is really good. It's at the very minimum a 10% damage up, but every curse you have is 10% more damage, and that is super, super worth it. If there's ever a reason to go over 10 curse, this is 100% one of the main reasons. The damage is just ridiculous. You can basically melt through entire floors and bosses with this item. It's ridiculous. Dharma. So Dharma in the right hands is, I think, an S tier item. It's really, really broken. It has one of the fastest recharge times out of active items that actually force you to charge them. And if you know how to use this correctly, you can basically blank almost all of a boss's difficult attacks. You can purposely use that dodge roll as a defensive tool to clear bullets proactively. It's just the fact that it charges so quickly. You can use this almost every, I'd say 10 seconds if you're constantly doing damage. It's really good on rooms too. The fact that you can activate this mid-roll, like you can activate this item in the middle of a dodge roll. So say you just rolled over a bullet, but you're about to land. You see that you're about to land on like a bunch of bullets, and that's normally that damage is unavoidable, right? You screwed up your dodge roll, you should take damage. But Dharma just means that like if you rolled over a bullet, you can just hit spacebar and you save yourself HP. It's super strong. I'm gonna say it's S tier. Decoy, it's B tier. Excuse me, it's B tier. Lets you steal. It can be okay in some bosses, or not in some bosses and some rooms, but the effect isn't really too great besides the steal effect. It's B tier, I say. Devolver bullets, or devolver rounds, or whatever. I'm gonna say these are average. So sometimes these can help you a lot. Other times they can screw you over. So if you're really close to killing an enemy, and you hit the devolve effect, and they turn into like a mutant shotgunkin, you're really mad. You just did all that damage for nothing, and they just got basically full healed to another enemy. On the other hand, if you hit enemies like lead maidens or some of like the really difficult enemies in rooms, this can be really nice because it basically just made that room a lot easier for you. So it can vary a lot. It's kind of like chance bullets. I'm gonna say it's C tier. Disarming personality. I think this is just a shop discount. The shop discount's okay. I'm gonna say it's a little weaker than most of these other items though. Generally, the discount isn't enough to be super amazing. Actually, no, I'm gonna say this is C tier. The money that you save can add up actually, and for the more expensive the items get, the better this item gets. So later on in the run, this can save you a decent amount more money. I think it's alright. Dog, it's okay. So a lot of times dog will just give you like Guan stones or money. What you really want are keys. Dog can't give you chests, so because Huntress starts with this item, it's pretty good, but actually no, on its own I think it's D tier. I'm just saying I was putting a C tier because Huntress starts with it, so it seems stronger than it is. But a lot of times, like say you got this in hollow, this is like what, like at the very best maybe like 2 keys usually, but on average you're just gonna get like 10 casings and like a Goan stone. Like this is like pretty weak. That being said, it's still free items, so you know, not the worst. I would still have this item over like these items, but not very good. Seeing double, I'm gonna say this is B tier. It's a really good B tier item, but it's never gonna be as good as like an active item that like one of these like protection items like H-Bell. More damage is nice because like on bosses, if you have like a weak gun, you can hit the damage cap more easily. But if you're already really strong, this item's not gonna help you at all. There's a damage cap for a reason, and this item isn't gonna like. If you're already hitting the damage cap, this item doesn't do anything for you. You can use it to clear rooms, but it's kind of overkill most of the time. It's kind of hard finding an amazing use for this. It's still useful, but it's a little limited. So I'm gonna say it's B tier. And it doesn't help you. It doesn't protect you from taking damage, right? So I'm gonna say it's B tier. Drill. This item is really good because, for one, it's basically infinite keys. You have to fight for the keys, but that can be a good thing. I think. I think the enemies. I don't know if the enemies drop money or not. I haven't used the drill for a long time. If they drop money, it's really strong. But I mean, either way, it's infinite keys for the most part. It's a good item. Drum clip. This is higher ammo capacity. It's B tier for the same reasons. It's B tier because it just lets you reload less, and that's just a nice thing to have, right? Like just doing more damage. You have less downtime. It's a nice item. Duct tape. I'm gonna say this item is. Ooh, it's almost S tier. It can be S tier. I'm gonna say this item is S tier. It depends on your guns, obviously, but certain combinations of weapons, if you have duct tape, you just win the game. And generally, like you want to save this item for when you eventually do get those guns. And generally, you can almost always hit like a really sweet duct tape combination, and combining the ammo counts and the effects together is just really strong. So I'm gonna say this is S tier. And the fact that it's like a one-time use, like you only have to use this one time, and you get it permanently, and then you still have like now your active item slot is open again. You can get like another active item. I'm gonna say this is S tier for sure. Easy reload bullets. It can be really good, so I'm gonna say these are B tier. Most of the time they're not too useful, but if you have like a lot of one-clip guns, this can be really strong. If you have like I'm gonna say, I keep saying Stinger as an example because it's a pretty like good example of a one magazine gun that's pretty strong. This basically just means that you don't have to reload that gun. You just roll. That being said, like rolling isn't always super safe because like forcing yourself to roll isn't always the best. But if you know what you're doing, like this is it cuts down on all that reload time. So it can really increase your damage by a lot. But only for those types of guns. Elder Blank, this item is really, really good. I'm gonna say it's A tier. It's not quite as good as Dharma because it's just slower. That being said, if you're not confident using Dharma, Elder Blank is just going to be better for you because you can use it proactively. Dharma is a little limited sometimes. Like if Dragon, like for example, when Dragon does his like knife throw things, you can't Dharma those. He's always going to be able to throw those out. But like Elder Blank, you can it's like an active blink. It's never bad. That being said, it is a little slower. It is still one of the fastest active item charges. It's a lot faster than some of these other ones, but it's not quite as fast as Dharma, so it's definitely one of the best A tiers, I'd say, though. Enraging Photo. This item is not very good. I'm going to say it's E tier. It's double damage for like a few seconds. That can be nice. On rooms, it's not going to really do much for you. It's not, like, there's very few cases where that's actually going to matter. On bosses, if you take, like, you don't want to be taking damage on bosses because you lose the Master Round. So, and the thing is, bosses are generally tanky enough where, like, if you're using this item a lot, you're in trouble because you're taking all that damage. So it's just not that good of an item. I'm going to say it's E tier. Escape Rope. I think this just, like, teleports you to a random room from the room that you're currently in. Like why would you use this? I can't really think of a case where this item is ever, like, super great. Like, I guess, like, the only possible case maybe is if you're about to take damage on a boss and you know you're going to get hit or something and you panic, you can just use this to get out and then do the boss fight over again. But other than that, I can't really see it. I'm going to say this is F tier. I don't see a great use case for this. Explosive Decoy, it's just Decoy but a little bit better, but not enough to warrant a higher tier. Yeah, I'm going to say it's B tier. Explosive Bullets, this item's pretty good. The explosions are nice. They do a pretty nice amount of damage. The AoE is good. It's good on bosses because it can clear their bullets too. Just a very nice damage up and has some utility with it. So good item. Eye Patch, it would be better. So it's a 20% damage up, I think, or 25%, one of those two. It's a nice damage up, but the accuracy can really screw you over. It makes you way less accurate. It's just kind of like a worse badge, I'd say. I mean, damage is always nice, but at what cost, right? It's still above average, though, but yeah. Alright, Fat Bullets. These are really, really good. 30% damage up, and bullet increase size. So the bullet increase size isn't always great, but the 30% damage up is, like, fucking ridiculous, right? That's, like, I think that's, like, one of the biggest damage. It might be the biggest, like, single item damage increase in the game, not including Curse Bullets. But yeah, they're just really strong. I can't really complain. They're, like, you're super happy to see these. I love these items. I love this item. Flak Bullets. This item is pretty nice. I'm going to say it's B tier. It's one of the best B tier items, I'd say. Basically, it's kind of like the same idea as Angry Bullets, but instead of, like, directly ricocheting to, like, an enemy sometimes, it'll just split in all directions. It can be really nice if you have, like, status guns or, like, maybe explosive weapons. It can do, like, a lot of mini explosions. It makes the room clearing a lot nicer. If you have explosive weapons, it's pretty good because you can get all that AoE coverage. So it varies, though. Definitely one of the nicer bullet upgrades, I'd say. So B tier. Fortune's Favor. This is one of the weirder active item invincibilities. It's good, but only if you're, like, not moving, kind of. I would still take it for... It's, like, still okay on bosses. You can use it on bosses, but it's not quite the same because I think, first of all, I think if you, like, dodge roll during this, like, it doesn't always work. I think you can dodge roll. If you dodge roll during this, I think you can, like, still take damage. And also, like, during rooms, it's not as good either. Like, basically, it kind of relies on the fact that you like, not moving. And that's, like, definitely not, like, it can limit you sometimes. So it's not really quite as good as the other ones. But it's still nice to have. The active, like, the duration of this is, like, kind of low, too, compared to some of the other ones. So you're never going to be unhappy having an active item like this, but you're never going to be, like, too happy either, right? So Frost Amulet. This is one of the better amulets. But it's an like I've talked about this. Amulet's B tier. Frost bullets, I think. Ice bullets. I think this is like frost bullets. These are really good. On bosses, sometimes they can be annoying, but for the most part, slowing down bosses is good. So this is gonna help you get through bosses a lot easier. Their attacks are gonna be slower. You'll have more time. You'll be able to do more damage like safely. But for some bosses, it can be a little annoying. Like Wallmonger, when he does his like wall of bullets on one of the sides, you can no longer like roll through that. You basically have to go to the other side now. I think on bosses like Rat as well, it can be annoying because his timings all of a sudden get really weird on the first phase, and on the second phase it can screw you over too. But in rooms, this item is super good too. Like freezing enemies is one of the best ways to stay safe. Slowing down enemies is really strong in general. So A tier. Full Metal Jacket. I'm gonna say this is A tier, but it's very good. It's almost like S tier depending on the situation. So if you're one of the players that struggles with using your blanks correctly, or if you are struggling with master rounds, this item is really good because it basically converts blanks into armor, but at the same time those like losing like that conversion doesn't count as a hit. So on a boss, like if you have like 3 blanks and you get hit 3 times, you technically didn't get hit. You just got you still get your master round, right? So over time this can add up to a lot of nice master rounds, but this kind of relies on the fact that this kind of relies on you not screwing up during the actual floor, because if you get hit a lot during the floor, you won't have any blanks for the boss, and then this item won't do you any good, and you just used up all your blanks on like normal rooms, and that's obviously bad, right? Like you want to save your blanks obviously for the boss and for the secret rooms. So it can be very good in those situations, but it does kind of require some solid gameplay on your part to use effectively. So I mean I would still always take this item. Like blanks are not as good as HP because they're meant to save HP. So getting like that direct conversion without having to manually do it is nice as well. So yeah, A tier. Galactic Medal of Valor. This item is super good. I think this halves reload times and increases your accuracy. So even that like alone is pretty strong. But then I think it also gives you 30% damage to bosses, and that is ridiculous. Like bosses are the main obstacle in this game, and the main reason why, like they're the main DPS like tests in this game. So 30% is like very strong. Like this item is the same as fat bullets against a boss, if you think about it. Like, and then the reload speed and accuracy, both very strong effects. Good. Gas mask, poison immunity. It's okay. A lot of these feature items like Amulet, Thorn, Blast Helmet, they all protect you against like one specific like status effect usually. They're all like good, can be a little situational, but they're all like useful to an extent. Ghost bullets, this is piercing. Piercing is nice to have. Doesn't help you on bosses really. It's good for room clearing though. Nice item. The piercing does less damage though, by the way. So it's not as busted as you'd think maybe, but it can be really nice. It doesn't really help you on explosive weapons either, but it's whatever. Gilded bullets. This is 20% damage up per 100 coins that you have. And it's kind of interesting because the more cursed you are, the better this item gets, because you have a ton of money when you're cursed. But even like in the average case, it's pretty good. I'm gonna say this is A tier. A lot of times, say you make it to Forge, right? And you have like 100 coins. You could either buy, like for example, like at the Forge, you could buy like maybe, say you could buy like a B tier gun. You could either buy that, or like you have the option to just not spend your money, and then that's a 20% damage up. So a lot of times this is just a pretty fat amount of damage for free basically. I mean it's not free technically, but it gives you the option to not spend your money and convert your money into like something better. So yeah, it's super good. I think this is Gold Amulet, so it's kind of like Bullet Idol. I'm gonna say this is a little bit worse though, because Bullet Idol generally Bullet Idol's like Bullet Idol lets you proc. Actually, this is B tier. It's an amulet. Yeah, Bullet Idol is better than this item because It procs on normal HP damage too. This only works on blinks, so you only have like usually only have like 2 blinks or 3 blinks. Well, you'll have 3 blinks with this item, right? But you won't get too many procs out of this, but it'll proc way more times. That being said, it's still like a free room clear when you do blink, so definitely okay. Gold junk. This item is, I almost want to say like S tier, but I can't. It's 500 gold, or it's 500 casings. That's like, if this item is good, this item is double that, right? So yeah, like 500 casings, that's like 3 S tiers worth of money. That's enough money to buy a rat key and then have money for like keys and like another S tier. Casings are pretty strong in this game. Like if you get this late game, obviously it's useless, but like you don't need money anymore. Like if you're like in the bullet hell already, you don't need this, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say much, right? Money's kind of broken. Grappling hook. This item is a lot better than you'd think. I am gonna put this in B tier, but it is one of the best B tiers, I think. Being able to, you can use this to do damage. If you hit an enemy with it, it deals damage and stuns them like a normal enemy. If you use this on a wall, it lets you reposition across the room. So, and while you're getting pulled, you are immune to damage. So, if you ever feel cornered, if it's a boss fight too, you can panic, just shoot this at the other end of the room. You will be immune to all damage, and you will reposition yourself. So those are both really great, and you can steal with this item. So, all those things combined, I think it's one of the best B tiers. I don't think it's quite A tier, because it can be a little niche of an item and hard to use. But beyond that, it's like pretty good. I think stealing with this item, I think you could steal like stealthily, but I don't know if I've been doing it right. But when I steal, like, they notice it right away. So I would be careful stealing with this on the main shop, because I think he will just close if he sees you steal something, because it's not stealthy like the other ones. I might be just doing it wrong, so please let me know. Green Gohan Stone. This item it's better than your average Gohan Stone, I'd say. Basically, 20% chance to heal when you take damage, 50% if you're on your last heart. So that can be really useful. Gohan Stones are meant to be defensive items, and if you're low on HP, like every time you take damage, like it's kind of like broccoli, but twice as likely, right? So it's better in those cases, but you don't get the damage of broccoli, right? So B tier, I'd say. Gun boots. These items are not that great. I'm gonna say they're D tier. They're never bad, but they're kind of underwhelming. Like they don't do much damage for their effect, and they're very hard to use. You're not gonna like the damage you get from rolling away from an enemy and hitting them with this isn't gonna outweigh the damage of you just shooting them usually. And rolling is pretty bad. You don't want to roll actively just to do damage usually. If it was more damage, maybe it'd be worth it, but it's just not enough. So Gondromeda Strain, this item is really good. It's a 25% less HP on all enemies. So unlike a damage up, it is unaffected by any DPS cap. So it's really good, but it's not S tier good, I'd say. So you can think of it as a 25% damage up, including boss cap, or including the DPS cap. But really, like, damage ups aren't gonna necessarily win you a run by themselves. Like, you can be melting enemies, but you won't be, like, on bosses, you still need to be able to play correctly and do all that. Like, I feel like for these other items, like, they make bosses really, really easy, or they make the entire run really easy. And damage up isn't necessarily always going to do that. Like 25% damage up is really nice, but it's not going to be quite enough to get you through fours unless you have already like a decent amount of skill yourself. It's not going to be quite enough to take you to the end of the game. You have to know what you're doing already. It does make the game a lot smoother, but yeah, it's not quite enough. That being said, like, Gondromeda is one of the best A tier items, I'd say. Definitely very close to S tier, but I can't quite put it there, I think. In a lot of cases, cursed bullets can actually be better. Like, if you have 6 curse, that's 60% damage, right? But the thing is, like, even cursed bullets, I feel like sometimes isn't enough to win by itself. So yeah, Gungeon Blueprint. It's Cartographers Ring. If it wasn't shit, you're guaranteed the entire map for the rest of the game. But for the same reasons why the ring isn't that amazing, the blueprint's not too amazing either. You're guaranteed basically to get all the secret rooms though, but I'll be generous and say like maybe you couldn't find most of the secret rooms, you could get like 4. You're guaranteed like you get 4 extra secret rooms. Like I said, it's pretty much always better to explore the entire floor and get all the money and whatever. Most players generally end up doing that. So the actual map isn't really too important. It is really good on bullet hell though. So it's overall it's quite good. I'd say it's like a quite nice thing to have, but it's not A tier strong. Just because it's a little redundant with the fact that you're already going to explore the floor and that you can already find some of the secret rooms on your own. So B tier I'd say. Gungeon Pepper. This item has never been like very good in my eyes. It seems kind of bad, honestly. It just gives you a small AoE effect around your like a small AoE damage aura, but it's like such a small amount that like it's just like pretty much it feels like irrelevant. Like you're not actually getting anything out of it. Obviously like you could try and kill enemies with it, but like why? Your starter would just be like 4 times faster. Like there's no point. The gun knight pieces. 1 armor per floor. They're all decent, I'd say. I'm gonna put them in average because let's say you get these like on floor 3 or 4. You get an armor for the floor that you pick it up, and then you get armor for every floor after that. So say like you pick this up on floor 3. Let's say like that. That's like the average case. That's going to be 1 armor plus the next 2 chambers, which is 2 more, and then bullet hell if you do that. That's going to be 4 armor. If you do bonus chambers, there's a little bit more. So 4 armor is nice, but it's not really like more HP is nice. I've talked about this a little bit already, but it's not going to help you get stronger at and have like a better chance at beating the later floors. It's just some more fuel, but you're going to need like items that actually increase your combat abilities, if that makes sense, at a certain point. And these are just nice, but they're not going to like do that. Gun Soul, this item is like, at the very worst, it's an HP upgrade, so it's average, I'd say. The revive effect is pretty bad, nearly useless, honestly, but it's a heart container, so yeah, C tier. Hazmat Suit. This item combines all the effects of the previous, like all like the poison immunity, fire immunity. It's all that good stuff, but it's packaged as one. So it's a pretty good item. It's a solid defensive thing. You don't have to worry about a lot of the environmental hazards anymore. It's not quite as good as flight because it doesn't protect you against pits, and you don't get the advantage of some of the other things. But yeah, I mean it's still nice to have. B tier. All of the HP upgrades. I'm gonna see these are all C tier. These are like my textbook definition of average in my book. I'm gonna put this Heart of, I think, yeah, Heart of Coolness is a little different. Heart of Ice is a little different because you get 2 coolness out of it, I think, and you get like a little effect where when you take damage, you shoot like ice particles all around. It's good, but I don't think it's like. The coolness is nice. All right, I'm gonna say this is like in B tier just because you get that little bit of extra coolness and like the ice effect. But HP in general, it's like basically the textbook definition of average. Heart containers are good. They're nice to have, but they're never going to be like overwhelmingly good. They're just throw it on the pile of items that you already have, right? I'm gonna say that's C tier. Heart Synthesizer. This is kind of, I'm gonna say this is B tier for the same reason that Armor Synthesizer is. The hearts can be better sometimes because you can store more, or actually, is that really true? I'm gonna say this is C tier. It's not as good as Armor Synthesizer. Armor Synthesizer is always useful no matter what. If you're full HP, this item doesn't do anything for you because you can't carry HP to the next floor. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is C tier. That's not B tier. My bad. Yeah, HP is just not as valuable. If you're low HP, like if you're missing HP and you need HP and you can't afford it, like this is still a good item, but yeah, I don't think it's great. So heavy boots, these just prevent you from getting knocked back. Like who really, like like I guess they don't really matter. I guess like there's not many cases where the knockback ever is going to hurt you too much. Like I guess rubber bullets, like maybe those guys like are very easy to avoid. Conveyor belts, I think they prevent you from getting moved by those, but those are only like in Forge. Like that's just like one floor. It's not enough to really. Are they in any other floors? I guess they exist in. No, I think it's just Forge really. Yeah, the main issue is just Forge. I mean, they're not going to be useful in other situations. I think if you can sometimes get like hit by an enemy that'll push you into like a pit and also do damage, you kind of like take like double damage, I think. But those cases are so rare. Like I don't think I've ever like had these items and had a great use for them besides like Alien Engine or the shotgun synergies. Um, yeah, I don't know. These items are like I would say the shotgun synergies are pretty common with these though. Um, so I'm gonna put this. The only reason this is an F tier in my book is because you have a lot of synergies with it. They are very common to hit. So I'm gonna put these in A tier. Uh, Heavy bullets. These are 25% damage up. That's great. Um, you get slower bullets, which is not great, but um, in my opinion, it's worth it. And that 25% damage up is a lot. So yeah, A tier. Helix bullets. They're okay. It can be annoying to shoot precisely with these though because yeah, like if you're trying to shoot through like a gap in the wall, a lot of times it won't work and it can be annoying. The thing is like they are a damage up if you hit both shots, but it can be also kind of annoying for smaller enemies. I think overall they're definitely like a worthwhile pickup, but they're not like that amazing. Yeah, hip holster, it's pretty good. When you reload, you shoot an extra shot of your clip. For one shot guns, you get an extra. Basically, you just shoot 2 times. It's pretty good. Um, yeah, nothing like too amazing. I guess if you have like, if you already have makeshift cannon, I guess technically it's just an insta kill at that point because it doesn't always one shot. But like, yeah, it's pretty good. Um, Most of the times you're gonna have like RPG or something to shoot an extra rocket. It's really good for helping those guns out, but for the average case of normal weapons, it's not going to be too much stronger really. So I'd say B tier. Holy Grail, uh, this is A tier I think, but it's almost S tier as well. This item means that when you take damage, you basically refill ammo on all of your guns. I don't know if it's all ammo or like a pretty good amount. Basically, you don't have ammo problems for the rest of the game when you have this item. Um, is that S tier worthy? Kind of. I think that's S tier worthy. It's kind of like Ancient Heroes bandana. You do have to take some damage sometimes to actually get it to work, but like it's just so much ammo. Uh, it's basically functionally the same as this item. Maybe it's not quite as good as Ancient Heroes, but it is certainly like up there. Homing bullets. These are pretty good as well. I'm gonna say these are B tier. It's kind of like a crutch. I think they're a little bit. I can't tell which one's better. They're both like pretty good though. B tier, I'd say. Honeycomb. When you take damage, you get some extra bees that come out. It's not that great. Taking damage, like the bees aren't really strong enough to warrant the damage effect. Like, obviously sometimes taking damage isn't really in your control, but like there are better effects. Like you don't want an item shouldn't like items that are good when you take damage. Generally are not that good of items because you want to avoid damage in the first place. And the better you get at the game, the worse they get. That being said, like, it's not useless. It's just not that strong. Like, the effect could be better. Like, it's just so much worse than Bullet Idol, for example. Hot Lead, it's a standard, nice upgrade, I guess. The fire effect can be good. It's useful on most bosses. It's good for clearing rooms. It's nice. It's a nice upgrade to have. Hungry Bullets, it's pretty strong. It can clear waves through large. It can clear away like large holes through the enemy attacks. This is mostly like an anti-boss, but it's also really good for rooms. It's just very nice in general. You'll find a lot of times that it'll save you a lot of painful dodging sometimes because it'll just completely wipe out like a lot of bullets that you would normally have to actually try on. I-Bomb Companion, this item is almost entirely useless. I'm gonna say it's like definitely F tier though. Interestingly enough, if you didn't know this, you can actually use this to blow up the mine flayers, the mines. So during that phase, it's actually like really good actually for that boss. I don't know if it blows up. anything, the tank stuff though. I don't think it does, but it blows up like, I think it blows up gats. It blows up uh the laser guys that shoot in all like in 4 directions. It blows up grenades, but those are all like pretty easy enemies to kill on your own. And they're pretty squishy. Like this item is literally useless in all their cases besides those ones. Yeah, so F tier. Ice Bomb. I don't think this one. I don't think Ice Bomb actually opens secret rooms, but it is a lot better than the regular bomb. But is it really that better? Much better? I guess it's like, I'd say it's the same tier, but I think it is worse than regular bomb. Even though the effect is better, you can't open secret rooms, which is a pretty big deal. Yeah, ice effect is nicer though. You can use the freeze on bosses to slow them down. It can be useful. Ice Cube. This item is really, really strong. Basically, when you're using an active item, it doesn't start recharging until it's completely finished using up. But Ice Cube means that it recharges while it's active. So, like, when you're finished using an active item, like say you just finished using Aged Bell, when it finishes, you're already gonna be like partially charged, and on the way there. And this gives you coolness, so it actually helps both of those cases. It makes it faster to charge your active items, and it kind of like helps itself charge the next use faster. It's super, super strong. I love Ice Cube. A tier for sure. Valor Morgunis or whatever. It's not that great. You use it like 3 times and it has a chance to like clear enemies in a room. You actually don't want to use this item because if you do clear like a room full of enemies, you don't actually get any drops from that. Like you miss out on the rewards. You don't get the money and you don't get like the room drops. You should, like, if you're at bullet hell, I guess it can be nice. You can get like a lucky hit. That's like pretty rare sometimes though. But yeah, don't use this item because you're gonna miss out on loot. The only reason you'd use it is a shop discount while you're holding it. But it's temporary. It's an active item. You're gonna replace this item eventually, right? So like it's very temporary. You're almost always gonna want to just drop this for something better. It can be useful in the temporary time that you have it, but definitely not that great. I'm gonna say D tier. Radio lead. It's kind of like hot lead, but it's poison. Cool. Jar of Bees. It's I'm gonna say it's average. Because you don't actually have to really pay attention to use it. You can just toss it. Like you just hit it whenever you want. It's pretty nice on bosses. It just does some nice damage. Certainly, like you would replace this with another active item whenever you can, but it's not terrible. Jetpack. I'm actually gonna put this in D tier. So it does let you fly, which can be useful. I guess the main use would be trap rooms and Winchester, but it's surprisingly not that great in normal rooms because while you're jetpacked, you actually can't dodge roll. So that's like a really big factor. A lot of times on complicated rooms with pits, yeah, it's not that great. And like for rooms that don't have pits, like it's completely useless kind of. Like or it's not completely useless, but like if you want to use this to avoid status effects, it's pretty hard because you can't dodge roll, and dodge rolling is kind of important to have. So yeah, not that great. Is this Junkin? No, that's Junkin. So regular junk, F tier. I mean, obviously, it just doesn't do anything. Unless you're a robot, but it doesn't do anything. Or unless you have Junkin. But yeah, it's useless. Katana bullets. I don't think this actually increases your damage. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it does like the slashing effect. I'm gonna say it's above average, but it's not amazing. The slashes can be nice, but they can also be kind of annoying because sometimes they can actually push enemies into you, or you can get pushed into enemies. The extra damage is useful sometimes, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's like A tier though. It's okay to have. Knife shield, it is average. When you use it, it's like a decent amount of damage. It's like a relatively low cooldown, so it's not that bad, and you can use it to block some bullets. I would use it similar to like a blank kind of situation. So it's just definitely not useless. I'd say it's average. Lament Configure Room. This is S tier. If you get this, like basically this item makes it so you can generate like, it's so much extra items. Like you can use this every few rooms and you'll have like I think it's like a 1 in 4 chance of getting an extra item. You fight some enemies, but generally you just go to like the biggest room possible and they're pretty easy to kill without taking damage. Over a course of a run, if you get this early on, it is an insane amount of stuff. The items can oftentimes be like A or S tier stuff too. So this item is so insane for just like generating other things. It's super strong, S tier. Laser sight. Accuracy up. It's okay. It's average. Malicious eye bullets, S tier without question. This is probably like, is this like the best item in the game? I think it might be the best item in the game. Yeah, synergies are ridiculous. I don't think I need to talk about this item. It's disgusting. S tier, probably the best item in the game. Trigger finger, more attack speed. I'm gonna put this in A tier. It's a little, it might be a little, I might be overrating it a little bit, but I think it's like 20% attack speed. So it's really nice. You can think of it kind of as 20% damage up. Obviously that's not like 100% accurate because you don't get like the ammo efficiency, but like for bosses it's functionally kind of like the same. And for rooms it's nice too, like if you have, it's just more damage, right? Like more DPS is always good, so I'm gonna say it's A tier. This is like the same thing as this item, but I don't remember which one's better. I think this one's better. I'm gonna put, I think they're in the same tier though. I don't think it's much better. I think it's like 10% slower compared to like this one. They're both like functionally kind of the same thing. Both good items. They slow the game down. Actually, no, I'm gonna put this in, whichever one is faster, I think is A tier, because this one is like nice, but this one is like very, very slow. Like the other one is like definitely more noticeable than the first one. I think this is Lodestone Amulet. It's not like anything special compared to the other amulets. It's like one of the less good ones. Loot bag. It can be very good. I'm gonna put this in A tier. So if you take a lot of damage, then obviously it's not gonna be good. But otherwise, it's a ton of money. And money obviously is all very good for just buying stuff. So yeah, A tier. Macho Brace. I think after you roll, you do more damage. It's not that great. Trying to use this actively is not. It's kind of like the gun boot situation. The damage isn't like quite enough to make up for actively rolling all the time, and you're gonna end up doing more damage to yourself. So I wouldn't recommend using it. Gun rack. This item can be, or magazine rack. I don't know what it's called. This item can be very situational. I'm gonna put this in B tier. Basically, if you're standing in the circle, you get infinite ammo. This can be insane with certain guns, like, and not so great on other guns. So, if you have a very, like, low ammo, high impact weapon, this item is insane. It's basically just infinite ammo for that. But for most regular weapons, it's just gonna save you some ammo here and there. I would say it's better than your other ammo weapons, or your other ammo items though. It's a little bit better than that. Magic bullets. These are B tier, I'd say. They're kind of similar to Devolver rounds, but or no, they're a lot better than Devolver rounds. What I'm saying. They're quite nice because polymorphing enemies just instantly kills them, and you still get the money. So yeah, they're really good. They don't proc too often though, so B tier I'd say. Magic Sweet, it's A tier. It's all stats up basically. More damage, an extra health, extra HP container. I think you get like, I don't know if you get reload speed. I don't know, like I don't exactly remember, but the main thing is that you get a nice amount of damage. You get HP upgrade. It's quite a lot of stats all bundled together. Very nice item to have. Master of Unlocking. It's situational. If you get this item early on, it's basically enough keys for the rest of the run. If you don't, it's kind of useless. Like if you already have keys, it's useless, right? I'm gonna put this in B tier, but obviously, like if it's early on in the run, it's probably A tier. Meat bun. This item is pretty good, I'd say. I'm gonna put this in B tier. The better you are at the game, the better this item gets. It's double damage until you get hit, and I think you get like an HP or something out of it. You could pop this before a boss fight, and unless you like panic or something, that boss fight should be pretty easy. Double damage will basically make until you get hit. Like generally, if you can get like a floor out of this, it's like pretty worth it. Like just getting that extra damage for clearing is a lot nicer. It is temporary though, so it can't be like that great. Medkit. It's average. It's one-time use. I think it's 4 HP though. If you're in a really rough situation where you need HP, I mean, I guess it's like C tier. It's useful, I guess. A melted rock. It is pretty bad. It just blows up all the bodies. It's kind of hard to use well. I would say you're more likely to use this item than these other like the F tier items, but it's still almost always useless. So Metronome, I'm gonna say it's A tier. If you can get a high charge on this going, you will just absolutely destroy the entire floor. And if you can bring a high metronome into the boss, you are going to melt it. So another item that depends on how good you are. A lot of these items are like, don't get hit, otherwise they're bad. So this is definitely one of those items. But if you can effectively keep your metronome high, this item is ridiculous damage. Very good. I think this is military training. It's average. It's like faster reload. It's a little better than average. I think it's like both the reload speed and accuracy. So for those reasons, I'm gonna put this in B tier. But I'd say it's like one of the lower Bs. Mimic Tooth Necklace, it's really good. With the fact that pedestal mimics now give you an extra drop in the new update, it is really, really good. Even without pedestal mimics, it's really fine. It's basically free. You don't have to pay keys for any of the chests for the rest of the run. It's basically enough keys for the rest of the run. Yeah, it's pretty strong. A tier. Molotov, it's pretty bad, but it's not like bad. I'm gonna say it's E tier. Molotov's never gonna be like useless, I'd say, but it can actively be hurtful if you don't use it correctly, and it's not that high impact. It's just like a pool of fire. If you have a fire weapon, it basically does the same thing. So yeah, don't sweat it. Monster Blood, it's an HP upgrade. It's not really too much better. Like, it gives you the poison pool, but that's not like a huge deal. So I'm gonna put this in the same tier as the other ones. Diazepam, this is basically just pinpoint accuracy. If you get this, I'm gonna say it's B tier. Mustache, I think you heal when you spend money. It can be kind of, I guess it can be useful, but it's not like, very rarely are you gonna see like a lot of use out of this. You can't really afford to buy a ton of things just to heal. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's D tier. It's not too useful. Nanomachines, these are actually really good. I'm gonna say these are A tier. They give you 2 armor when you pick them up, so that's nice. And then every 4 times you get hit, you get 1 armor. So you can kind of think of that as like 25% damage reduction over the course of a run, and that's like pretty significant. Like 1 in 4 times you take damage, you don't take damage, kind of, if that makes sense, because you get that HP back. So yeah, definitely like pretty good item. I'd say A tier. This is a lot of HP. Like if you have 8 heart containers, that's effectively like 2 more heart containers on top of that. And then if you refill those HP containers, that's like more HP. It's basically like secretly 25% more max HP, but then also like yeah, basically that's what it is. Napalm Strike, it's like Airstrike but worse, so E tier, I'd say. It doesn't actually do direct damage. It can be dangerous for you as well. Definitely not good. Oil Cylinder, better reload times. C tier, I'd say. Old Knights Flask, it's like 2 HP per floor. Like you can use it 2 times per floor, and it's 2 hearts. It's pretty useful, I guess. It's better than these other items, and if you are struggling with like HP all the time, it's a lot of HP. Like, it can keep you alive for a lot longer. So I'm gonna say B tier. The old Knights stuff, you can buy these at the blacksmith. They just give you 2 armor each. I'm gonna say they're D tier. Like, they're basically the same as Gun Knight in terms of what they do, but it's a one-time effect and like way less overall. So D tier, I guess. Actually, they basically are Gun Knight pieces, because you basically only get these at the blacksmith. So that's the equivalent of getting a Gun Knight Smith piece, but like you can get these earlier on, and these give you way more armor. So definitely not as good. I'm gonna say D tier. Omega Bullets, they're not as good as Alpha Bullets, and for that reason, I'm gonna put this in B tier. It can be a lot more annoying to get the last bullet out. The damage up is 20% more. Like instead of 80%, it's 100%. But it can be more annoying to get that damage. Like for your regular guns that have larger magazines, you're not gonna see that too often, and it's not gonna matter like too much, honestly. Having the first bullet thing is much more important than the last bullet. So B tier. Orange Guan Stone. It's one of the nicer Guan Stones, but I still don't think it's like good enough to warrant being really good. It does like almost no damage. It's very little. I wouldn't say it's like almost no damage. It's just like not enough to matter to be like super good. I'm gonna say it's C tier. Orange. This is a full heal and an extra HP container. So this is quite good actually. I want to put this in B tier. It's a nice item. Uh, if you use this in the right situation, actually I'm gonna put this in A tier. If you use this in the right situation, it is life-saving. Say like you're in bullet hell, you're on lich, you're at half a heart. You use this item, boom. Now you have like 6 heart containers, full HP. It's really, really strong. Even if you don't plan on using this because you have a nicer active item that you want to use instead, it's fine. Like it's extra heart container, and it gives you 2 coolness as well. That's definitely not like nothing, right? So I think it's A tier. It can be life-saving, and even if it's not, it's still useful. Heart container, coolness, good. Orbital Bullets, I haven't actually had much time to use these, but they seem to be B tier. I don't know. I don't think they give you more damage. They basically, when you miss a bullet, they orbit you instead. It can be useful at times, but it's not like the most useful item ever. I'm gonna say they're B tier. I have to play with these a bit more. Owl. Owl is pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's A tier though, and this might be like a bit of a controversial one. I might have to get my mind changed on this, but Owl, I feel like Owl doesn't activate as frequently enough as it should. Like it doesn't activate enough, because a lot of times enemies will shoot bullets kind of close to you, but like you easily dodge them. But Owl will go off, and then you won't have it ready for the next however many seconds, and it's just not gonna like protect you all the time. It's not really consistent in the way it protects you, I guess. So it's B tier. If you have amulets though, it's pretty good because the blanks that it does are affected by amulets, so that does help a lot. Cheese wheel, this is S tier, super S tier. This is the best, I think, active item in the game, barring like, I guess it's like the best invincibility item in the game. You can shoot while you're active in this, so it instantly kills all normal enemies. So if you're like fast, you can actually like clear like sometimes even 2 rooms of enemies for free with this item. You can also shoot during this. So on bosses, it lasts for a very long time. On bosses, this does a ton of damage to them if you just touch them with it. So you want to just keep like hitting them with it while you're active, and you can shoot during it. So like you can basically just do like, you can do extra DPS on top of your normal DPS, and you're invincible the whole time, and it lasts a long time, and you can clear whole floors. You can clear like entire rooms with it. It's super, super good. It's also flight while you're in it. So like while you're active, you don't fall off cliffs. Like it's just so good. You can use the cheese Winchester rooms too. It's super, super, super strong. Cheese wheel is insanely busted. S tier. Pig, an extra life, very good. A lot of times if you're gonna die, like you generally like by late game, if you're struggling and it's like a kind of close run, or like you make it to bullet hell and you're really low HP, the pig can be the make or break difference between winning or not, because obviously the more HP you have, the better, right? Because if you have 6 heart containers, for example, and you die, that's 6 full heart containers you get back. So it's kind of like orange, but orange is an active item versus this being a passive item. Orange is a little bit better, right? Because it gives you a heart container on top of that and coolness. But you have to hold it the entire time. So if you already have an active item, then pig is much better. But yeah, extra life is super good. This is pink Guan Stone. This is one of the best Guan Stones because it doubles as an HP upgrade. So one of the upper end C tiers, I'd say. Platinum Bullets, very good, S tier. They scale throughout the course of a run, and they add a ton of damage and reload speed and shot speed and fire rate to all of your weapons. They're super good. I would say they're S tier, yeah, for sure. Poison Vial, this item is like E tier. It's kind of like Molotov, but poison, not really that useful. Portable table device, this is actually not as bad as you'd think. When you flip tables, you get iframes, and this is reusable. Like it says that you only have 3 tables, but once you use all 3, it does recharge. So you can use this to get like iframes during bosses. It's not really useful at all during rooms. There's not too many rooms where this is like, you can actively use it. If you have table text, it can be really nice though. If you have table text, this item is actually really, really strong. So on the average case, I don't think it's kind of below average though. Portable turret, this item is also kind of bad. It doesn't really do much for what it does. Yeah, it's just very underwhelming. Potion of Gun Friendship, You basically max out your DPS on whatever gun you're using. Really fast reload speeds, extra damage. It can be really good on bosses. If you don't have enough damage to hit the DPS cap, this basically just puts you there. On rooms, you can just destroy the whole room with it. It is definitely not as good as active item invincibilities, but it is certainly like quite a good item still. Potion of Lead Skin. This is like the standard invincibility item when you think of like invincibility. Very long duration. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say. I've talked about these already. It's very good. A tier. Proximity Mine. I think this one hurts you too. Okay, I don't actually know which one hurts you. These are all like basically the same thing though. They're all like pretty bad. I guess Proximity Mine's a little better because you don't actually have to. You can put it down and run away. I mean, I guess that's these two, but it's easier to run away with this one. But yeah, just not enough effect for what it does. It's not good. R2G2. This is like an average familiar. It doesn't really do that much damage for being an S tier familiar that it is. It's just not very good. I'm gonna put this in C tier. Rat Boots. These are nice to have. They let you temporarily walk over pits and you're immune to damage while you're on them. It's only like 2 or 3 seconds of time, so you can't abuse them too hard. They're really nice though for like trap rooms. You can just run over them really fast. For pit rooms, you can kind of just ignore them. They're kind of like semi-flight, and it's really hard to use. It's kind of hard to use like the invincibility effect well, but if you combine these with the pit of the amulet, like the amulet lord, or the amulet of the pit lord, it's a pretty strong like unofficial synergy. It's pretty nice. I like Rat Boots a lot. They're a speed up too, which is really nice. One of the best. I think they're the best speed up in terms of like the speed upgrades. Ration. It's 2 extra HP. If you die, it activates automatically. Like, who cares though? Like, if you're gonna die, like, why would you not just use this, right? Yeah, it's pretty bad. It just doesn't really do much. It's D tier, I'd say. It's like Medkit, but like way worse. This Gungeon, this is like better than the red Gungeon is better than your average Gungeons because the dodge roll speed, it improves your dodge roll. So it's kind of like Claranthi Ring, but you also get a Gungeon. So these two are like kind of like evenly matched. I think this is a little bit better than Claranthi Ring though. Reload Stone. This is good, but I don't think it's S tier. So you get more ammo from it. If you have weapons that are ridiculous but low ammo, so like classic Yari Launcher, classic Makeshift Cannon, Black Hole Gun even, if you're low on that, this basically solves all your ammo problems. And during the time period that it's active, it's basically an invincibly active. The main downside is that it doesn't last as long. It's pretty short. But yeah, I'd say it's A tier. Remote bullets. I'm assuming you're playing on PC because these are bad otherwise. They're 10% damage up and basically perfect accuracy. Even better than perfect. If you have a piercing gun, they just got way better. So this item is super good. I like it a lot. A tier. Like even if the homing effect wasn't good enough, you get that 10% damage anyways. Like that's so much on top of that. Very good item. The Rat Sack, it is really strong. You get 4. It increases your like capacity to like 4 active items. So like if the cheese wheel wasn't enough, like assuming you had the cheese wheel already, but even if you didn't, like if you just got this item on its own, it's super strong. Like if you have this item, basically means that like if you have 2 active items, you can. I probably can already do this, but this item lets everybody do this, where you can just like rotate between 2 items and basically just be invincible the whole time. If you have 3, I think it's just like guaranteed, honestly. The effect itself is fine too, like throwing cheese balls back. During the Dragon's phase, you can use this to kill in 1 cycle. It's pretty good during regular rooms too. I'm not sure about this, but I think it increases like it increases like the effectiveness of your dodge roll because it kind of like increases the radius around you, that it just like sucks up bullets around you a little bit, if that makes sense. People that have used this will kind of know what I mean, I think. But yeah, super good item, A tier. Riddle of Lead, it is S tier, and especially so on the robot. So it is 2 extra HP containers, I think. It is faster dodge rolls, it is more damage, and it is damage reduction potentially if you are on your last HP. It's like 50%. If you're on robot, you don't actually have HP, so this is 50% damage reduction at all times. So that is ridiculous. But even the other buffs are really strong. You get a lot of damage, you get HP containers, the dodge roll is really nice. It's a super overloaded it and you get like a ton of stats. Super, super good S tier. Ring of Chest Friendship. It can be, I think it's A tier. If you have the keys for it, this can add up to like a ton of resource acquisition. Even if you don't have like that many keys, like you can junk it and get some extra money out of it maybe, or you can get like some lucky drops. You have a higher chance of getting extra consumables if you don't have keys, so it's a good item. I'd say it's A tier. Ring of Chest Vampirism. This item is not that good. It has a chance to heal you. I don't know if it's a chance or is it guaranteed. It's not that good though. You don't want to break chest just for healing. Like, I guess it's just like small upside if you do have to break a chest, but yeah, it's just very underwhelming. It's just like not very strong. It's D tier in my book. Ring of Ethereal Form. This is also A tier. It's very similar to Aged Bell, because they both let you steal from shops actually. This one also gives you flight. Aged Bell does not give you flight. So I think this is actually maybe even better than Aged Bell because you can use this to cheese Winchester as well. So yeah, super good. A tier. This is Fire Resistance. It's C tier. It's another resistance item. Good to have. Chest Friendship, or Mimic Friendship. This is actually bad. And like in more ways than one. I'm going to put this in F tier actually, because mimics are a very good thing because, for one, killing mimics means that you don't have to pay keys. So like this actively hurts you by having it because now you lose the chance to save yourself keys. And I think this prevents you from getting pedestal mimics. I wouldn't say for sure, but pedestal mimics now give you extra rewards in the latest update in A Farewell to Arms. So this item is just like a straight negative for you. Yeah, you definitely don't want this item. The only reason I would pick this up is to sell it on the same floor, or just like sell it as soon as possible. Yeah, I would try to avoid this item. Ring of Miserly Protection is 2 heart containers, but if you spend any money, you lose them. So this is like pretty terrible. The only time this is good is if you like get it in Forge maybe, and like you don't plan on spending money, and you can't afford anything. Like the heart containers can be nice, but money is like, it's not worth it like to not be able to buy things. Like the HP isn't as valuable as what your money can buy you in this game, so definitely not very good. F tier. Ring of the Resourceful Rat. I'm gonna say it's A tier, because if you get this, like, you can trade the bullet that kills. If you have the bullet that kills the past, you can actually trade that for a random S tier item with a rat. It can be a little annoying sometimes because it takes away. If you have this item, you can no longer just like. The way it works is that you get like 1 trade per floor, and you can save your trades. But if you have like if you had if there's an extra active item that you're leaving behind, it'll try and just trade that item instead of like. If you want to save the trade, it'll force you to use it like a trade instead. So that can be really annoying. But if you can get the rat trade with at the forge, it's like basically just a free extra S tier item, and it's good for rerolls too. Like if you want to reroll like a bad S tier item or gun, something that you don't like, maybe an A tier, rerolling is a pretty nice ability, and yeah, it's a nice item. A tier. I think this is Ring of Triggers. When you spacebar, when you activate them, you shoot your current gun in all directions. It is really good if you have an active item, let's say, because it basically just kills everything around you. On bosses, it does a nice amount of damage as well. Preferably if you have like a weapon that bounces off walls, it is insane with this item. And yeah, it's really strong with low cooldown active items because you can spam it. I think the cooldown is probably similar to the what am I thinking of here? The Blank Companion's Ring. So this is like the offensive version of that. They're both pretty good. Rocket powered bullets. These are pretty good. They're a 10% damage up and more bullet velocity. More bullet velocity equals more accuracy essentially. So they're pretty good. 10% damage is nice. Not as nice as some of these other damage ups, but yeah, they're nothing to laugh at. Pretty good. Roll bomb. I've never found this item to be very useful. I'm gonna say it's E tier. I mean, you can find uses for it, but it's very hard to like actually use it effectively. It's a lot easier to use like gun boots or uh, even like a macho brace, but the roll bomb is just like it's not very good. It doesn't do damage even. Like the payoff is not worth it usually as well. So E tier. Rolling Eye. This item is below average. Uh, no, I think it's even worse than that. I can't ever think of a case where I've killed an enemy with this in all my hours of playing. I don't think I've ever killed. No, actually, no. Fuck this item. It's F tier. Like you almost never you never use this item to kill enemies. Like at most it'll do like 5 damage to them when it reflects like 1 bullet back, but it's so bad. It's like you're just not gonna. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Ruby bracelet. I actually haven't had a chance to use the new bracelet at all. From what I understand, if you're running really fast, you can use that. You can dodge roll into an enemy and it does like a lot of damage. So just like basing off the description, I'm gonna say it's C tier. Assuming that you can one shot like relatively tanky room enemies with it, it's not bad. So that's the new Ruby bracelet. If you have the old one, it's like F tier. The new one's like C tier, I guess, though, from what I can understand. I have to try it out, I guess, but I'm gonna say C tier for now. Scattershot. I'm gonna say this is A tier. They buffed it quite a bit, and it was pretty nice before. It's like really strong now. The damage is a lot, and if you have any weapon that has like additional effects on it, you just basically get triple that amount. It's pretty strong. I like it a lot. A tier. Scope, more accuracy, C tier. Pretty standard. Scouter, 10% damage up, and the HP bars. The 10% damage up is enough to put it in B tier. The HP bars is like a nice cosmetic touch. I like it. Compass, pretty bad. I'm gonna say E tier. Knowing the direction the boss is in isn't really gonna help you. You wanna generally explore the full floor first. You wanna get as strong as possible before fighting the boss. The only time this is good is like maybe bullet hell, but the floor can like wind a lot, so it's not always correct, and you really like don't want this item. Like you want a better active item at that point. Like you had 6 force to find an active item that wasn't a compass, and you stuck with the compass. Like its item doesn't help you in any way besides finding the boss, and that's not really that helpful, honestly. So yeah. Sir Junkin. He is average, and I know people are gonna hate me for saying that, but he is average. In order to get Junkin to be any good at all, you have to sacrifice so many items. I would say he starts getting good around like actually useful around tier 5. So you need around like 4 junk before that happens. So unless you're junking like guaranteed brown or blue chests, it's pretty much not worth it. And even then, like there are like a fair amount of really good brown and blue items and guns. So like generally junking isn't really worth it. Think about it this way, like Junkin at level 6 does like a small amount of damage, I guess. It's like okay, but when you like the main reason is that when he dies, you get an extra life. But think about it, like Pig just does that on its own, and it's 1 item. And to get to level 6, you have to you have to trash 5 chests. So unless you're a robot who already really wants junk, Junkin is not going to be that great for you. He is like a really cool companion though. I do like him. When I get him, I do go for like the max level Junkin because I like leveling him out. But if you really want to do a winner run, I would recommend not leveling Junkin at all, or at least like not trying to purposely get junk when you could just unlock the chests, unless you're like you already think like you won and you just want to have some fun. If you're a robot though, Junk is really good on you, so him and Junkin are like best pals. Pretty nice. 7-leaf clover, yeah, I mean S tier. Do I need to talk about this? It's just like it's busted. I mean, it gives you these other items that are really busted, so yeah. Shadow bullets, these are, I'm gonna say they're A tier. You have a chance to shoot an extra copy of your current bullet. I don't know what the exact chance is, but it seems to be like a pretty reasonable amount. Getting the extra shot out is really nice. It's essentially just like a damage up. And it seems to be a pretty good one as well, so I'm gonna say A tier. It's probably one of the weakest A tier items, but I think it deserves to be up there. Shadow Clone Jutsu. I haven't actually used this at all. I know I've used this once. It was okay. You get a copy of yourself that does like double damage. It's kind of like it's kind of like Potion of Gun Friendship, I'd say. So yeah, it's kind of like Potion of Gun Friendship. I think you can use the Shadow Clone to maybe block bullets too, so it seems pretty good. Um, it's kind of an I don't know. It seems it's alright, I guess. I this is definitely just like a lack of me using it though. So I'm gonna tentatively say it's A tier. Now I'm gonna have to go try it out a bit more. So yeah. Charlatan Key, it's good. It's infinite keys, but it's not gonna win you. Like keys don't just win you the run necessarily. They just get you other items, and you can win the run off those. But like keys aren't gonna not help you get hit or help you not get hit. So Shield of the Maiden, it's not entirely useless, but it is kind of bad. You're not gonna really want to use this in rooms unless like you know you're gonna get hit. But like I guess like yeah, it's just very hard to use on bosses. You don't really want to use this either, because like generally if you know that you could block something, you could also just sidestep it, and it's easier to sidestep it because you can actually shoot while you're doing that. Like it's gonna prolong the fight if you try to use this like too much. It's not really that great. I think this is Bouncy Bullets. No, I already had Bouncy Bullets, didn't I? I think that's Bouncy Bullets. Oh, this is Shock Rounds. My bad. Shock Rounds are, I would say they're also B tier though. They're not like that great. The damage isn't like too much, and they're like really annoying to actually use well. Bouncy Bullets are also B tier. I meant to put them. I thought this was Bouncy Bullets. They look really similar. Yeah, Shock and Bouncy are both B though. More speed ups. These go with the other speed ups. I want to put them in B tier. Silver Bullets, 25% damage to bosses, which is really good. And then you basically, cursed enemies don't have extra HP against you. They're basically just normal enemies in terms of HP. I'm gonna say this is A tier. The extra boss damage is really, really nice. And one of the hardest parts about cursed enemies is their HP, because they soak up so many bullets that they kind of meat shield, and then the room can get kind of difficult because you're starting to get cornered by these like enemies that you can't kill. So this completely invalidates that, and they're really good. A tier. Singularity. This is kind of like a pseudo invincibility active, but you can't really do damage to the enemy necessarily while you're putting it down, because it'll suck up your bullets too. So, kind of use it as a blank, I guess I'd say. It's B tier, I'd say though. If an enemy is about to do like a really difficult attack, like the boss is about to do an attack that you are really bad at, or like if there's no way you could damage them anyways, like on High Priest or Cannonball Rog when they go dark, is a great time to pop this item. Sixth Chamber, it's 2 curse, and then every curse gives you 2 coolness, so it's +4 coolness on the spot as well. It's nice, I'd say. It kind of negates the downside of curse. I would say it's B tier. It doesn't really give you, I mean, I guess the coolness is nice, but it's not quite as good as Cursed Bullets, where it doesn't give you damage, it just gives you drops. And like, yeah, the main downside of Curse isn't like the lack of drops, it's the enemies, and it's not going to help you kill them really. I could be undervaluing this item, but I haven't really found the case where it's been super valuable. Like, I haven't really seen it do wonders for me, so I'm going to say B tier for now. Smoke Bomb, it lets you steal, it lets you stealth in the middle of rooms, so it's one of the better stealing active items, so I'm going to say B tier. It's still B tier, or sorry, it's still B tier though, but yeah, it's one of the best active items, or better stealing items. Snowballs, I'm going to say it's B tier. I don't think it's quite A tier, but it is one of the best B tiers. Basically, the further your bullets go, the more damage you do. I don't actually know how much damage up it is, but it doesn't seem enough. It doesn't seem like super, like, great. And a lot of times you won't be too far from your enemies. Like, shotguns aren't going to benefit too much from it, and those are generally pretty strong. Most normal enemies, most normal rooms aren't going to be, like, too long. I guess it is really good if you have piercing weapons or bouncing bullets, because those will be in the room for a long time. If you have remote bullets, they're really good too. On bosses, I guess they're more usable because you want to stay far away from bosses for the most part. So they're definitely not like, they're definitely on the upper end of B tier, I'd say, but I don't think they're quite S tier, or quite A tier, I mean. Space Friend, it's an okay familiar. He shoots lasers sometimes. You can use him to block bullets. He does block shots sometimes. so I'd say it's B tier. Spice, it's A tier. Spice is a pretty big meme, but it's also a very good item. You get tons of extra free damage. Even if you only use it 2 times, it's 2 extra HP containers, and it can make your... I think it also gives you like enemy shots are slower or something like that. I don't remember the full benefits, but yeah, Spice is really good. The best players will use it as many times as they can before they die. If you do get Spice, a piece of advice though, don't use too much Spice early on in the game, because Spice will replace all of your drops later on, and if you aren't comfortable, like, it will, like, basically you won't get any HP or armor for the rest of the game. You'll lose a lot of items and guns too, like they'll get replaced by Spice. So definitely, like, if you're near the end of the run, like if you're like in Hollow or Forge, start using Spice. But if you're like in Chamber 1 and you get this, don't go overboard. You will probably see some consequences from that. Sponge, it's really good. It's kind of like Hazmat Suit. They basically kind of do the same thing. Both really good. Spring Heel Boots, a double jump. These are actually really strong. If you fuck up your jump or your dodge roll, or you want to you want to extend your dodge roll, this is basically, you can chain 2 dodge rolls together, and like you're not vulnerable after your first dodge roll if you immediately go into the second dodge roll. So if you notice you're about to get hit, just roll again, or if you want to roll over like a really long pit, you can do that too. Like, it extends your dodge roll distance if you want. Very good item. They are kind of hard to use, but you have to remember that like you actually have these, because most people don't remember. Like, I don't remember sometimes, but yeah, if you can use this well, definitely A tier. This is Sprun, new item. It's B tier. The activation condition, like getting the item, like the gun, is really, really powerful. It's a super strong gun, but it really depends on your condition. I would say it's pretty good on average. Like, it's a pretty good on average. I'd say it's B tier, but yeah, it varies a lot on run to run. Stout bullets, they're A tier. They're like fat bullets, but not quite as good. There's a little bit of a damage fall off. So you do have to be closer to the enemies for it to get like maximum effectiveness, but it is a lot of damage still. Very nice item. Stuff Star, it's A tier. Nothing to say here. It's a good invincibility. Sunglasses, slower on explosions. This is kind of an annoying item actually. You get coolness out of it. I'm gonna say it's average, just because the coolness like is a nice thing to have, and the explosions can be useful, but it can kind of throw off your timing sometimes. If like when it goes back to normal speed after the slowdown, it can kind of mess you up. So I would be a little careful with these. These can be lower for you. I don't mind them too much, but I know some people don't take them. Super Hot Watch, this item is S tier, but I hate this item. It makes the game really annoying to play. Like, if you want to stand still to let enemy bullets go by, you can't really do that anymore. When you're standing still, time kind of slows down to a near freeze. Like, it basically means that you can plan out all of your moves, and you won't really get hit ever unless you like are running around a lot. But yeah, it trivializes the game. It makes the game a little too easy, in my opinion. And if you want that, like, that's fine. Like, it's kind of like a free win. Definitely like run defining for sure. This item is super strong, but can be kind of a hassle to use, but definitely very strong. Super Space Turtle, one of the best familiars, A tier, has a very high DPS. Each bullet it does like 5 damage, and it shoots pretty fast. I don't think it blocks bullets for you, but I'm not sure actually, but it's fine. It does its own thing. During a boss, it can actually add quite a significant amount of damage. One of the best familiars, I'd say. The ammo drop, it's 1 ammo drop. Like, it's not useless, but it's not very great. It's just ammo. Table Tech Blinks are pretty good. Is this A tier worthy? No, but they're one of the best B tier items, I'd say. Table Tech Blinks, because a lot of rooms just don't have tables, so, and bosses it's not going to be useful. But Table Tech Blinks are super nice. Any room with like a good amount of tables, you basically just, that room is free. You don't need to worry about it. Anytime a lot of enemy spawners are shooting at you, flip a table, you get iframes, kill some enemies, flip another table, keep going. Table Tech Heat, this item is pretty bad from my experience. I want to say it's D tier. It lights enemies on fire around the table when you flip it, but the radius is really small and the damage is like pretty poor. It's not really worth the effort of trying to go through and do it. Table Tech Money, it's average, I'd say. He flips all the tables. You get small amount of money. But it's not that much money. So it's really not that great. C tier, I'd say. Table Tech Anger. Also C tier, I'd say. Table Tech Blinks is like the best one by far, I think. But Table Tech Rage is pretty good too. It's like a ton of damage. I don't know if it's double or triple, but it's a lot of damage when you flip the table. Yeah, it makes you when you just flip the table and you do a ton of damage to enemies. It's like the goal is kind of like the same as Blanks. It's meant to clear rooms easier, but Blanks is, in my opinion, just much better because you don't have to worry about getting hit at all. And generally, like, you can kill the enemies relatively quickly without the need of rage. Table Tech Rocket, this can hurt you, I think. So I think this makes this actively bad. Table Tech Rockets is like a really funny item, but I don't know if they changed it in the latest update, but I'm pretty sure before the rockets would damage you. Very fun item, but yeah, not very good. Table Tech Stun, or let's go in order. What am I doing? What is this item? Table Tech. Have I gotten it? I know I've unlocked it. I don't know if I've used this. I don't remember what this is. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's Table Tech Shotgun. Yes, I remember now. I've only gotten this item one time. It's also not that great. It's better than Rocket, but it's also kind of like Heat, where it's very hard to use effectively. Yeah, you're not going to see much use out of this item. Table Tech Sight. It's similar to Rage. You also slow time, but you get the triple shot. It's kind of like the similar. It's basically along the same veins as Rage. Table Tech Stun. Actually, I think Table Tech Stun is kind of like Blinks. And it, like, you just flip tables and the enemies are completely defenseless. It will protect you for the entire room. So yeah, Table Tech Stun and Table Tech Blinks are both similar. Table Tech Blinks actually does reveal secret rooms though, so it's a little bit better, but they are both around the same level. Teleporter Prototype. This item, like, there's not much point to this item. You can get teleported to secret rooms. I think maybe. I actually have never been teleported to secret room. I know you can get teleported to like the eyeball room, but I don't remember if there's like any point to that. I know you unlock Yellow Chamber if you do that, but yeah, I don't think this item is useful at all. I wouldn't bother. The ticket, it is really good. You get a free Gatling Gun, and he blocks bullets for you, and he does like a good amount of damage himself. If you use this on a boss like Dragon, you just stand behind him, and he just tanks it all up for you. You don't have to do anything. Super strong. Ticket is A tier for sure. The cooldown is really long though, so you can only use this like once per fight. Yeah, it's really good though. One of the best A tiers, I'd say. Sorry, going back to this. It is one of the best A tiers. You can kind of use this to cheese most bosses if you do like the stand behind strat. I think he does like die, so you still do have to play like the game. You still actually have to fight the bosses like without him for a good amount of time, but so it's not just like free. And then for Lich, especially for like Lich or like Rat multi-phase bosses, you do have to do like, he's only going to be available generally for one and a half phase maybe. So you do have to like, he's not always going to be there. Otherwise, I would put him in S tier, like if it was easier to keep him around for the whole time, because they did nerf him. But even now, he's like an A tier, probably one of the best A tiers, I'd say. The lockpicks. These are okay. I would never buy these or like try and get these, but if you have these, they're okay because you would only ever use these when you don't actually have keys. But if you don't have keys to unlock something, it's still a 50-50 chance to get free stuff that you wouldn't normally have gotten. So I think they're okay. I'm gonna say C tier. Turkey. It's more ammo. It's like every 3 bullets you get 1 ammo back or something. So it's a fair amount of ammo. I want to say this is B tier. It's more proactive than these other ammo items, I'd say, because you are actively like getting ammo back without having to like find ammo drops. So for the same reason, the other ammo items are better. I think this ammo item is like okay. Turtle Prob. This item doesn't seem to be very good to me. I think they follow you around and they like can do damage to enemies or block bullets, but they aren't really that amazing. I'm gonna say they're average. Unity, you get damage per gun that you have. It's okay. It's not like a ton of damage, but like it's a fair amount, I'd say. It's like enough to be, I don't know if it's enough to be like super noticeable, but it definitely adds up over time. And the more guns you have, the better this gets. So I want to say B tier. Lead amulet? It's like poisons enemies. Yeah, it's like a pretty standard amulet. I'm gonna put this with the other amulets, just right here. Utility belt. I think this is just like more ammo, so I want to put this in C tier. More ammo kind of fits along the lines of the other, like the C tier items. Like they all help you in a small way with one stat. Orbital Bullets, these are B tier. So every now and then you will just one-shot enemies, but it is kind of inconsistent. And on bosses, like you'll practice 2 or 3 times maybe, or like maybe more than 2 or 3 times, but it's not very consistent. Like most of the time it won't help you. Sometimes it'll help you, and overall it's like a nice item, but not like super great. Wax wings, these are A tier. Flight is really good. They're kind of just like the bullet thrown, but a little bit worse, but not like, basically it's like a negligible amount. They're basically the same power. The weird egg, so I think this is either a full heal if you eat it. If you shoot it, you can get like a gun, and it upgrades per floor, the gun tier. And then I think you can spawn the serpent with it if you want to do advanced dragon. If you want to win the run, and like if you're just flexing, you can do advanced dragon. But otherwise it's pretty good. Like if you hold on to this for a long time, I'm gonna say it's A tier, but one of the weaker A tiers. If you hold on to this for a long time, you can get yourself like a guaranteed S tier gun. That's pretty powerful, but it does require some commitment. If you have no other good active items though, yeah, you can reroll this into like a very powerful gun. So full heal is nice too. Like if you desperately need HP, full heal can save your run. So good item. White Gunstone. This is actually pretty good. It's kind of like an amulet, but also a Gunstone because you get blanks as well. So it's better than your average Gunstone, I'd say. I think I already said Space Run. This is the one that shoots rockets though. It also blocks bullets and orbits you. So this is like a pretty good familiar, I'd say. I'd say it's B tier. It's kind of like it orbits you and blocks bullets, which is nice. And then the rockets are helpful sometimes. They don't do the most damage, but they can sometimes help like wound an enemy and help some damage. So not terrible. Wolf, it's an okay familiar. He does some nice damage. Not really too much, but most of the familiars add a small amount of damage and not much else. So it's like perfectly acceptable. B tier. Yellow Chamber, A tier. It gives you 2 extra HP containers, more fire rate, and the ability, like it can pre-charm enemies. So the pre-charm is not always useful because, like I said, some dangerous enemies will shoot in all directions. They will still hurt you. So sometimes you just have to kill them anyways. But other times, like, they can be pretty useful. Like they can increase your room clear a little bit. You don't actually have to kill the enemy. There's a really cool animation where they just die at the end. It's really awesome. But yeah, the HP containers are really nice. 2 HP containers is a lot, and the fire rate's really useful too. So I'd say A tier. I would say it's on the weaker side of A tier though, but definitely super nice to get. I like it. Ghost bullets. This is pierce. No, zombie bullets. This is when you miss, you have a chance to get ammo back. I would say this is average. I guess it's more ammo, but like it's not really that much ammo. It's just not. It's a little underwhelming, I guess, for a bullet upgrade. Yeah, I'd say it's average. And then finally, plus 1 bullets. This is just a flat 25% damage. You love getting this item because C tier items are generally not too great, and this is like one of the best items in the game. Love getting this item. Plus 1 bullets are awesome. So yeah, this is the whole tier list here. It only took me like 2.5 hours to talk about all of this. I actually don't know how long it's been, but I don't know if you can tell, my throat's getting like really dry. My throat hurts a little bit right now. But yeah, obviously these are all subject to change, so feel free to talk about any of my rankings. I'm always open to moving items around. I definitely don't think like this is maybe the finalized version. It usually takes me a little more thinking and discussion to kind of like move items around to where they should be, but I think this is for the most part largely accurate to what I think all items should be. So yeah, thank you for watching so much, and thank you. Bye.